academics. Thank you.
God is good, and all the time. I'm Miriam Mogi, Principal, Kwiho, Timaru Sub-County, Vice Organizing Secretary, Kessha, Migori County. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jonas Moreme Maroa, Principal, Kubaye Secondary in Mabera, Chairperson, Welfare, Migori County, Kessha. Thank you.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Joseph Weisiko, Chief Principal, Taranganya Boys, Secretary, County.
Good morning. I'm Madam Jane Simba, Principal, Oruba Girls, Uriri Sub-County, Vice Treasurer.
Good morning. I'm Thomas Mugeda, Principal with Tharaka Secondary School, Suna East. I'm the Organizing Secretary, Kessha, Migori County.
Everyone, good morning. My name is Sabana Sodiambo, Chair Academic, Principal BLTESA. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Magawe Peter is my name, Principal St. Peter Sabwao, that is Suna West Sub-County, and also the Chair of Kessha, Migori County. Can we give our Team Orange and Team Red 3 hearty claps? 1, 2, 3. Again. Again. Thank you so much. At this particular point, I would just want to disrupt the protocol for today. I would invite the chairperson of the session to come and introduce the guest. Thereafter, we shall also invite our CD, who will officially now invite the guest to the podium. Chair session, kindly come. Can we clap for mwenyekiti wa gatuzi ndogo wa Intumaru?
Asante sana kiongozi wetu Ayatola Peter Magawe, ambaye ni rais wa gatuzi letu la Migori. Tumekuwa na Team Orange na Team Red, lakini Orange sio ile linda mwananchi ama linda ground, lakini Orange yetu rangi zetu hapa za Kessha. Mgeni wetu wa heshima kutoka makao makuu ya Wizara ya Elimu, Daktari William Sugut. Kiongozi wetu Bwana Onyego, County Director, Sub-County Directors, ama wakuu wa magatuzi madogo 12 yote ya Migori. Kuna wale maafisa wasimamizi wa tathmini ya ubora wa elimu, walimu wakuu, wageni waalikwa, na wale wengine ambao wanafanya kazi mbalimbali katika kongamano hili. Hamjambo. Hamjambo tena. Mgeni wetu Daktari Sugut ni mwanaume ambaye ameoa, na kwa umri huu kama angekuwa hana familia hatungesema kwamba hajaoa, tungesema hakuoa. Ni Mkristo, ako na mke na watoto. Alianza kazi kama mwalimu wa kawaida, akawa naibu mwalimu mkuu, akawa mwalimu mkuu, afisa wa tathmini ya ubora wa elimu, akawa mkuu wa elimu magatuzi madogo ya Matungu, Keio Kusini, alafu akawa mkurugenzi wa elimu katika kaunti za Bomet, Kisii, Nakuru, halafu akaenda katika makao makuu ya mtaala wa umilisi, akashiriki katika ile tume ya kuandaa mtaala huu, akawa mkurugenzi wa elimu eneo pana la Mashariki, ule ulikuwa mkoa wa Mashariki, Halafu akaenda katika makao makuu ya Wizara ya Elimu ambapo alijiunga na tume kamati ya ushauri ya wizara kuhusu mtaala huu wa umilisi. Akawa mkuu wa shule za upili awalia, halafu kufikia sasa ni anaongoza kitengo cha shule za upili andamizi. Ana shahada 3 ya ukapera katika elimu, uzamifu katika elimu pia, na amemaliza hata ile uzamili katika usimamizi wa elimu, PhD in Education Administration. Kuna mambo mengine ambayo pia ameshughulikia: Senior Management Course, Strategic Leadership and Development Programs, Project Management, wanasema among others. Amesoma sana, msomi sana huyo. Mengine ambayo hatuwezi taja, amesema among others, kumaanisha hatuwezi taja. Mada yake ambayo anakuja kuzungumzia leo ni usimamizi shirikishi kati ya wasimamizi wa elimu na jamii ambamo shule zinapatikana. Zamani tulikuwa tunajua kwamba jamii inawakilishwa katika halmashauri ya usimamizi wa shule na ile shirikisho la walimu na wazazi. Mambo mengine wanaachia shule, lakini saa hii kwa huu mtaala mpya wanataka tushirikiane. Nafikiri wengine wale ambao umekuweko muda mrefu mnamkumbuka Musa Undunda, Parents Association. Mtu alikuwa
come over and speak to us. Can I request all the officers present here to come forward for introduction? Officers wetu wa elimu ambao wako hapa. Najua jana tulikuwa na wengi, leo wamerejea kwa shughuli mbalimbali. But those of us who are present, come over for introduction.
Our director, our CD, the leadership of Kessha and all members. My name is Nicholas Wamere, the Sub-County Director of Education, Uridi Sub-County.
Thank you. Director, principals, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am called CPA James Otieno, the County Schools Auditor, Migori.
Thank you. Our Director, Senior School Education, our CD. All protocols observed. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Justus Wasike, Sub-County Director of Education, Awendo.
Head of Directorate Secondary School, our Director County, and Principals. Good morning. My name is Ogeta Henry, Quality Assurance, Awendo.
Our Head of Directorate Senior Schools, our CD, our Principals. Good morning. I'm Mombasa Okech, Sub-County Director of Education, Nyakike South.
Thank you. Daktari, we have 12 sub-counties. Number wa yesterday. Wameenda kwa shughuli. There are activities going on. Kuna inaitwa siku hizi wanajiita Kessha, Kenya Comprehensive Schools. Pia wako na mkutano kama huu Homa Bay, and we have drama going on in Nyeri. There are several activities happening across the country. So officers wanajaribu kufikia hizo activities. Yesterday we had a very good presentation on issues of resource mobilization. And I sat through that presentation. I realized that the load looked very heavy to the principals. Sidi kweli? Na I realized that would have best been given to our Director of Studies. Sindio? Ama mimi niliona vibaya. So I would propose, Chair, maybe as you come to the end of the workshop, you can find a way in which you can organize yourselves so that you can bring on board those director of studies and parents, because we need to bring them on board. The competence-based education has given parents a role in the implementation of this curriculum in our institutions, and we need to bring them on board. Not this business where parents wanakuja wana hand over watoto and they don't have anything to do with the children until they meet the children wakati wa likizo kama saizi. And actually many parents that have come across wakati kama huu, they are most uncomfortable because they don't want their children. They are happy when these children are in school. So we need to find a way in which we need to bring them on board for purposes of working together. Because the issues of discipline, in my presentation as I did, a parent has a critical role to play. Issues of resource mobilization and many things. So there is no way we can do without our parents. Of course, I know our politics at times, imefanya watu wamefika mahali, people are very active kuzaa, lakini when it comes to responsibility, they want to leave it elsewhere. Sindio? And we need to bring them on board so that we can be able to work together with them, because they have a role to play in the whole process of molding this child through the education sector. So, Chair, probably as we wind up the conference, you will need to sit and look through the issues and come up with a roadmap and a work plan on what we need to do so that we can be able to make gains on the issues that have been discussed here for purposes of making progress. We don't have to come for conferences and we make conference look like a place of coming just to relax. We are in a learning session. And I'm happy, Chair, that the level of order I'm seeing here is exemplary. And I want to take this opportunity to clap to the Kessha Chair na hii timu yake ya cabinet yake. Can we stand for claps? Hawa wangwana wa orange na red. Asante sana. Can we give them makofi matatu ya kilo? Moja, mbili. Asante sana. Thank you and keep it up. I have looked at even some programs in some counties. People arrived yesterday and the people are finishing conference today. But you so there are several jokes that we do around here. But I want to say that, Chair, you've organized our business very well. The level of presentations that we, even the quality of presenters we have picked on, they show people who have an intention of moving somewhere. Daktari, I'm happy that you accepted to come. I have walked a journey with Dr. Sugut. Hiyo miaka ambayo umesikia akiwa Matungu, akiwa Keyo, akiwa Matungu niko mahali fulani, akiwa Keyo niko mahali fulani, tumetembea na yeye. Kwa hivyo ukisikia ile lugha ya wanasiasa wanasema my brother and friend, this is my true brother and friend. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you to join me in welcoming our presenter for this morning, Dr. William Sugut. Tumpe ile makofi ya mvua, aendelee kunyeshewa mpaka achukue mtambo wa kuzungumza. Karibu sana daktari. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Karibu sana. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Onyeko. The leadership of the Kenya Secondary School Association, Migori, the entire team that was here, my colleagues from the Ministry of Education and Teacher Service Commission, our principals who are here, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm happy to be here this morning to be able to join you in this conference. Now, what I am at a loss to know is whether we are using English or Kiswahili. Kwa kwa sababu mwenyekiti ametueleza kwamba mwenda pole ajikwai. Nafikiri angepewa fursa ya kutosha pia angekueleza kwamba bila shaka kazi hii mnayoifanya mgaga na upa hali walimkavu. Na mwenda tezi na omo marejeo bila shaka ni ngamani. Nitagusia mambo machache kwa kuhusu kazi tuliopewa, na kuna mwenzangu hapa nafikiri atafika hapa anielekeze kama amefaulu katika ile kazi niliyompa ama bado. Okay, you want to scroll from there? But I can do it from here, right? Is that okay? Yes. So that you don't dictate the pace. Because I have about 3 hours with these people, right? Is it? Session chair, you have given me how many minutes? Or how many hours? Not less than 1 hour, okay. That looks better. So I think one thing that we need to say is that we are happy to be here following your invitation. I was supposed to have joined you yesterday, but I did explain to your director, Bwana Onyego, who is a friend, because I was in another conference and building the nation in different ways. And therefore I told him that I would be here today. So it is therefore important that we make use of this time. And I'm happy that you people in Migori are well organized. Even the color of the badge that you've been given indicates a lot. The only thing that I did not get is, what is this green one? Those of us who've been given green, so where do we fall? And I realized the people with green are very few. Director, then a few others. But maybe before the end of the conference we'll be told what that means. Education is very, very important. And that is why possibly you have taken time out of your busy schedule to be able to come to Kisumu and be able to deliberate and caucus on matters education. In that case then, I will briefly be able to look at the effective implementation of the competence-based education, of course, and fully alive to the fact that there are a few areas you may require clarification and comment. It's like your gadgets are not working, but even if they don't, we will present, right? The people who paid fees for ICT are trying to demonstrate why they can't work. That is okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, then allow me to be able to look at this briefly and then be able to address a few other things that you did raise and that I anticipate you are likely to raise. We are talking about effective implementation of competence-based education. And the presentation will take this format, just briefly, to be able to look at a few terms, just to be able to clarify. I know you have been taken through all these issues of competence-based education. But my role will just be to clarify a few issues that possibly are not very clear. Issues of goals, reports, the vision, the core competencies, the structure and the curriculum, of course, and the timetabling. I'm informed that the timetable gave you a bit of headache, but finally you are able to go through it. I expect that so. Learning approaches, curriculum itself, and a few issues in terms of food for thought. So now we are at a level as a country where definitely as a principal of a senior school, you are aware we are now talking about curriculum designs, learning areas, the strands and the substrands, pathways, tracks, and subject combinations. In fact, if today you went to a function and I listened to you as a principal, and you still talk about topics and subtopics, I know the retooling has not been successful. Pardon? You have? Yes, you are. We know that, but this is a stage of transition. So when you talk about that, definitely the thing in the market is the question of transition. Of course, being alive of the fact that we still have the Form 3s and the Form 4s who are there in our schools. Of course, we do not want to be academic, but this is what we have aspired as a country, goals of education. Fostering nationalism, patriotism, and national unity, promoting socio-economic, technological, and industrial needs, individual development, and self-fulfillment. And the question at this level is, as a senior principal, as a privileged member of society, have you attained your self-fulfillment with regard to education that you have received? And then sound moral and religious values, promoting social equity and responsibility, respect for and development of rich varied cultures, and promoting, of course, international consciousness, developing positive attitude toward good health, and environmental protection. We have done all this, but the question that arises this morning is, have we been able to attain these aspirations? Where is our weakness? Are there areas of concern that possibly require attention? Of course, as a country, you know where we have traveled from, all the way from independence, with the Ominde report, given what it was supposed to do, mobilizing the human resources to achieve national development and unity. Then the Kessha report of 76, helping to redefine vocational policies, cultural aspirations, and socio-economic and national unity. Of course, the Mackay one that you are aware of 81, that terminated A level and introduced 844 and established the second university, Moi University. Of course, before that, there was one university. And I don't know how many of you are privileged to go to the university. If you did not go to the university, then you must have gone to any other college. Kamunga report of 88 featured mostly on education quality, relevance, and financing. And then Koech report of 99, which advocated for total integrated quality education and training. And more close to where we are, Professor Douglas Odhiambo report of 2012, which was meant to align the education sector, of course, to the Constitution 2010. And then the Fatuma Chege report of 2020, where I was privileged to serve as the head of secretariat with regard to competence-based education on enhancing access, relevance, transition, equity, and of course quality for effective curriculum reforms implementation. And finally, the latest, which is the Professor Raphael Munavo report of 2023, the Presidential Working Party on Education Reform, which helped to firm up issues in competence-based education. Why do we change our education? Why do we reform? Why do we review? Two main reasons. One is to keep pace with international standards, that every 5 years we should be able to look at our education, at least to align it to the global standards in terms of when our citizens exit, are they able to fit into the global village? So we must be able to measure to that. And number two, to be able to look at the education system that we give to our citizens. Is it giving them skills, attitudes, experiences that they are able to use to navigate through life? So that is the most important thing that definitely is very important. In terms of the vision and mission for competence-based education, in all that we are doing, we expect that the learners or the citizens will finally be engaged, empowered, and more importantly, ethical. And remember, ethical citizens is something that we are still grappling with. had I been allowed to come here a bit early, I would have carried out an experiment. If today you went to church and left your phone on a Sunday or a Saturday, would you be able to find it the following week? You can try that experiment. Now, for us, when you go to a new office, you don't need to ask people how the team that you have been given are in terms of honest and all that. You simply drop some money in the afternoon as you go home in the evening. If you do not find the same money in the morning, you can conclude what it is that you are talking about. So you don't need to ask people whether your secretary is honest or not. You simply need to do an experiment, right? But this is something that has been a bit of a challenge. But ensuring that citizens are engaged, empowered, and ethical is what is therefore the cardinal point in this respect. Secondly, nurturing every learner's potential, relationship between ability and career. In the recent placement, the challenge that we had was the fight between parents and children. Children's ability indicates otherwise. Children want to do a different pathway as opposed to what the parents do. Parents, in some instances, want to achieve certain aspirations in life through their children. So that if a parent did not become an engineer, the parent wants to be an engineer through the child. And therefore, without looking at the ability of the child in that respect. So the learners then that you have received, you must be able to look at the talent and nurture it. Identify and nurture it. So that in a class of 40, you are able to say, yes, I have this number is likely to go here, and each of them can be accounted for. The role of the teachers then and parents is very critical for mental, spiritual, and physical development of the children. How do we do that? We must be able, therefore, to go around the clock and ensure that the children that we have been given are not angels, but it's because we have gone to school, and therefore we are supposed to help them be able to address issues in life. In whatever it is that we are handling, learners are supposed to acquire the following core competencies. Communication and collaboration is very, very important. Self-efficacy. They believe that what it is that they do has a bearing on their destiny in life. It shapes what it is that they do. Critical thinking and problem solving. When we have a problem, we are creating people who can be able to think critically and offer solutions. Problem solving. Creativity and imagination. Learning to learn, of course. Digital literacy is something that is obvious. And citizenship is very, very important. Do we love our country as Kenyans? Or let me put it in a different way. Other than Kenya, which is our spare country. So that is something that we need to think about. Because at times you listen to ourselves and we speak like, okay, even if things went bad, I mean, what is the big deal? I would be able to go to my spare country. It is important for us, therefore, to be able to think about that and see what it is that can be done. These are the core competencies that every learner is supposed to acquire, irrespective of the pathway they have chosen, irrespective of what it is that they are doing in school. Of course, the structure is very clear. It is now common knowledge, the 2-6-3-3-3 system, children going to school 4 years. It is advisable that children don't go to school earlier than 4 years because their cognitive development is not fully developed. I know you people, you read a lot of psychology and you are able to understand that. Primary, grade 1 through 6, junior school 7 through 9. And I hope you now understand that the grade 9 left you because you did not want to receive them. You remember last time we wanted to give you, you said no. You told us to buy you handkerchiefs so that because they would come with a lot of mucus, and you do not want to handle children who are very young. But they left. So anyway, what you're handling now is grade 10, 11, and 12. And the university takes 3 years depending on the course. Of course, the universities are still working on their curricula so that they are able to sort out that. Of course, those are the learning areas in pre-primary. Somebody would wonder, why are you projecting things for us? Apart from being principals, you are also parents. But you also need to understand the background where it comes from. Who knows? You know, I was told last time that there was a challenge with some institutions. I don't know whether Migori had the same challenge that attracted 0 learners in grade 10. That challenge is there. So God could be speaking to you in different ways. When you see such a content, you don't dismiss, because it can be source of solace. I will later explain what that means. Of course, our primary, those are the subjects. In terms of junior school, which is closer to you, and which you should take a lot of keen interest, is English, Kiswahili or Kenya Sign Language, mathematics, integrated science, pre-technical, social studies, religious education, agriculture, and creative arts and sports. 9 of them. And when the results were out for KJSEA last time, I don't know how people calculated very fast, and they talked of 72 when there was no 72 anywhere. What we were using are the weighted scores. Those of you who are gurus in mathematics understand how we calculate the Z scores, right? How many of you teach maths? Hands up. Teachers of maths? 1, 2. Only 2. This is very dangerous. So teachers of maths don't become principals. That is amazing. Okay, so okay, we will be able to look at that later, fine. Of course, in senior school, the learner picks a pathway. I know we have had arguments with regard to my child is very good in all the pathways, but you make a choice. You cannot, if here you are lovers of ugali, I don't know, you cannot take ugali, take chapati, take rice at the same time. Even if you want to mix, it's not a very good thing. Just tell us what you want. Because you see, we are looking at the talent, we are looking at nurturing it. So the child must be able to choose a pathway. And the pathways, as you are aware, are 3. In the current placement that we have in grade 10, 51% of them are in STEM. 39 are in social sciences, and 10% are in arts and sports. Of course, arts and sports entails arts and then sports, the 2 tracks. Social sciences again has the 2 tracks, which is humanities and languages. And STEM has 3, that is pure, applied, and technical studies. But there has been a bit of misconception that STEM is synonymous to pure sciences. That is not true. We should be able to take care of that. The core subjects that children take are English, Kiswahili, Kenya Sign Language, essential or core maths, and community service learning. Who is teaching community service learning in your school? Yourself. Do you have a principal teaching CSL? Very good. I don't know where you went for training, but that is leadership, right? Now, arts and sports is what I've explained. These are the subjects. Is there a school teaching indigenous language in Migori? You don't know what to teach. Why? But you have a curriculum design. In Migori, you should be able to teach the Luo, is it? Or you teach what? Korea. So no school has picked that. That is food for thought. Maybe look at the curriculum design, what it is that is to be taught. But you see, you are also teaching Mandarin. So when you teach Mandarin now, where did you get the teacher for Mandarin? Yeah, we welcome the team that is getting in. Karibuni sana. Including my brother, Dr. Amadi Mugasia. In technical studies, of course, we have the subjects of aviation, building, construction, electricity, metalwork, and all that. But just for curiosity purposes, how many schools are offering aviation in Migori? Aviation, hands up. 0. Oh, it's 1. Which school is that? Nyabisawa Girls. Okay, Nyabisawa Girls, aviation. Yeah, that makes sense because so now in Nairobi we know we have one school in Migori offering aviation, right? Electricity, how many are offering electricity? 1, 2, 3. There are also very few. Next year, we are thinking of making electricity, building construction, and maybe general science compulsory. Because that is where the world is moving to, and therefore people should be able to offer that. Media and technology, media technology, how many are you? Okay, about 4. Marine and fisheries. Marine and fisheries. It can be that Migori cannot have one school without. Do you take fish? That is amazing. That's a challenge for you this time round. I know one question you will ask me is, who will teach marine and fisheries? The teacher of geography can do that comfortably. And anyway, given that you have grown up in a place that there is fish, so how are you helping the society? Now, in terms of timetabling, depending on what it is that you're handling, of course, we are looking at the number of lessons per subject, which was given to you via the circular by the peers. The 5 for core maths, stock essential maths, the 5 subject lessons for English, 5 for Kiswahili, 3 for social CSL, the 5 for the core, for the electives that you are talking about, be it in STEM, be it in social sciences, or arts and sports. Of course, the size of the school also in terms of enrollment is very important. The number of streams per pathway. Is there anybody who has tried working on one single timetable and is offering 3 pathways and has 10 streams and above? Who has tried and succeeded? It was a headache, right? Or you have not even tried? Now, the challenge that you had is because you went for your graduation. You remember, during your graduation, you were told you've been given powers to read and do all that appertain to the degree. What did you do after that? If you are a lady, you are able to courtesy. If you are a gentleman, you are able to bow, right? And among other things, you are very happy. One thing that you did not ask is, what does it mean, all that appertains? Part of it was this timetable thing. We told some people, don't pick more than, have a minimum of 15 children per combination. People thought, no, that was a joke, so they picked. You know, there's a school that declared a capacity of 4,500 in your neighborhood. So we told them, fine, You are insisting that you can accommodate 4,500. Said, yes, sir. I mean, have the facilities. Okay, work on a sample timetable and give us. It became a headache. So he started coming back and saying, now what do we do? Can we now organize and see what we can do, you know? And you were able to visit our school. We told him, no, our diary is full. We can't come, but we want you to revise that. So availability of teachers, the classrooms, of course, and what it is that you want to introduce. Theater and film, for example. How many schools are offering theater and film? 1, 2, 3. That's nice. The others, why are you not offering? There's no teacher. Do you have a special reason? You have the teachers, isn't it? Yes, your teachers are in school. Teachers of literature should be able to teach theater and film. Those who teach Farsi should be able to do that comfortably. So you have the resources with you. And again, one thing that I would appeal to you, ladies and gentlemen, please look at the curriculum design and be able to interact with it so that you are able to do that comfortably. The circulars, the school routine, the sponsor, and the school location. Of course, you do not have challenges of weather here. But why would we be interested in the sponsor when we are doing the timetable? There are schools that insist that before everything in the morning, you must start with prayers. So if it is a tradition for the school, why do you want to create trouble? For effective leadership, be able to look at that and see how you can be able to manage. There are people who go to new schools and they say, for them, they don't want to listen to that kind of talk. It is academic work. You want to teach space physics, you want to teach thermodynamics, and you don't want to hear anything about a prayer. And you tell people this is not a church. I can assure you, they will assure you that you will not also survive. So it's important to think about that. Of course, the learning approaches will differ in terms of what it is. Experiential lecture method, of course, is what has been used for a long time. Collaborative learning, the group work, inquiry-based learning, discussions, project-based learning. But there's one thing I want to mention here. I went to a school and the grade 10 learners had rejected the teacher of chemistry. Reason is that this teacher went to class and told them, today we are learning the atom, and told the children to go into groups and discuss. So the learners went back to the principal and asked, okay, between ourselves and the teachers, who are supposed to be teaching who? You know, they can't discuss what you have not taken them through. You give them the basics so that finally they are able to participate actively. I know we are changing from teaching to facilitation. But this should not also be misunderstood to mean that you do away with teaching in terms of giving them the content so that they can be able to discuss what it is that they have been taken through. Considerations then should be the issue of the subject being taught, the content or the strand, the facilitator's experience, your preparation in the process. Facilitators' mood and tone and even attitude, so that is very, very important and critical, because what teachers do, what they say, what they work on will have a critical effect on the learning that takes place. Assessment, of course, as you are aware, is very, very important for you. I hope you are aware now that NEC is working on registration of grade 10, right? To participate in the school-based assessments. And the assessment is both formative and summative. All the way from primary, pre-primary, primary, and what happens in grade 3, the monitoring learner progress. In upper primary, of course, you are aware the scores are 60% for formative and 40% summative, which are now very clear to you. When you get to junior school, it is 40% formative and 60% summative. Of course, with 20 in grade 4, 20 in 5, and 20 in 6. In senior school, which is very relevant to you, the formative assessment is 30%, the summative is 70, and of course, this is something that you need to understand keenly on how that will be undertaken. At grade 12, of course, the children will be awarded the Kenya Certificate of Basic Education. And the thinking is to ensure that those pursuing technical studies are able to get a second certificate from TVET. That's when we are talking about dual certification. So that apart from getting this KCBE certificate, they get another certificate on their area of specialization, the technical studies, those pursuing electricity, woodwork, metalwork, marine and fisheries, building construction, and all that. So that from grade 12, they just proceed to the place of work. Special needs is also very important. There are parents who may want to push their children without proper assessment to the regular schools. And you see, when they are assessed, they will face challenges. It is good to have them placed appropriately so that they can be able to benefit out of the interventions that are given to them. I am aware that your conference is talking about strong schools and effective collaborative leadership. And therefore, when you talk about strong schools, we want to look at how is the discipline of that school. And discipline is a very, very emotive issue and concern. I know the director, Onyego, did present something on that and in detail. But in terms of discipline, how do people rate your school? Are students happy with your institution in terms of how discipline is taken care of? There are a number of cases we normally get with regard to discipline. One, I will only give 2 illustrations. One is about drugs. That this child has been found smoking bang. And therefore, we are recommending him for exclusion. And even as you talk about that recommendation, the child is already out. So the board, the staff discusses, they refer to the board, the executive board meets, they refer to the full board meets, they refer to the CB. The CB says, to hell with this child, you can now release the child to hell. So where does the child go? Now, when you look at that, and you look at the available laws, it is only the Cabinet Secretary for Education who can be able to exclude. The reasoning behind that kind of stringent rule is to ensure that we do not misuse it. Let us even assume that this child is truly a bang smoker. So which law says that a smoker or bang is not supposed to go to school? I've seen schools recommend that, fine, let us move this child from boarding to day. If they continue smoking bang in day, so where do we take them to? Home. When we take them home, so let us leave that aside. Most girls' schools are saying now the girls are lesbians, right? They have that challenge. And the argument you will get is that, no, we want to, first of all, when you look at the evidence, why do you say this child is a lesbian? I was told, the colleague said, or even the girl accepted, So what do? Hatutaki mwanafunzi huyu afunze wengine tabia mbaya. And principals go ahead and tell you, sir, this is a religious school. We cannot condone. The assumption is that the children you have received, all of them are angels. So why are they in school? And even if that was true, a child would still be entitled to education, right? And you know, the school is even a better place for them to get assistance to change behavior. You know, it's like telling a child or telling a parent that your child has a problem in linear programming in mathematics, that the child is not able to do optimization, right? And the parent, so you are sending this child to the parent to support in linear programming. When the child, when the parent himself or herself did not even go to a class of mathematics, who should be helping who? So in this case then, I think our role as educators is to be able to think really, what do we need to do? What do we do with children who have challenges in terms of discipline? Those who have resorted to bank. And we are appealing also to our colleagues from the Ministry and Teacher Service Commission that we need to sit down and say, okay, the psychology that we did learn in school, the experience that we have had, what is the best way of handling these learners? Now, do you know that even in psychology, if you have a child who is wetting a bed, the best way to address it is not to talk about it. The more you focus on it and tell the child, no, you know you're a bed wetter, you know, the more the child now continues. But if you leave it as a normal thing and address other things, it will stop. But if you focus on it as if life depends on it, you know, it becomes a challenge. So how then do we address these concerns? Issues of bank, issues of discipline, issues of lesbianism, how do we get them out of that? And it's only the school that can be able to do that. Governance issues is a concern. Issues of conflict of interest. Supply of goods and possibly services, if any. Where you have challenges is where people have entangled themselves in conflict. The chair of the board is supplying maize. The vice chair is supplying beans. The principal is supplying bread. The HOD sciences is supplying what? Games kits. That is why we have a whole debate on uniform. And there is somebody who wants to sue us. Because of conflict of interest. If you are serving in that institution, you cannot be a supplier in that same institution. Because how would you do a check? You sign the check in your name? How does that look? And I know that's a very, very emotive thing that people need to look and sort out. And again, when you have engaged suppliers, please pay them. I know there are people who don't come from Migori, but they come from elsewhere. You have gone to a school as a principal, you are new. You have dismissed all the suppliers who are there, and you have picked on new ones. But you have also not paid the previous ones. Aren't you setting yourself for a battle? If you want to dismiss people, make sure you sort them out. So the advice in terms of administration is, even when you go to a new school, take time to understand the situation. Don't dismiss people summarily. You know, it is better to say, okay, I have not paid your debt, fine, but please continue supplying as we pay you, as we sort out this thing. You must establish a relationship. And that is why you are told all that appertains. Nobody will teach you that. You must be able to and those are the things you need to discuss in a conference like this. Maybe, Director, you should have a session where people are able to open up and discuss among themselves. Waseme you are talking, see? So that, because at times things happen, unamuuliza principal, now, is it true that you have not paid this supply? Yes. Is he or she still supplying? No. How did you terminate? Ati alikuwa anatusumbua. Sasa alikuwa anawasumbua. Kwa hivyo mkafanya namna gani, mfanyaje? You know, you must look at the overall good. There are devils you must accept to live with, right? As you navigate towards a better tomorrow. So that is one thing that is very, very important, and it is important for children to be in school than to be at home. So we should aspire as much as possible to ensure that that happens. And of course, the environment that we are in is very, very critical. Let us make the environment conducive. With collaborative leadership, therefore, you should be able to map resources very well, physical, human, and financial. If you have chosen as a school to offer STEM, for example, the resources then that you have in RMI or MIF, you can be able to direct towards laboratories more. If you want to go to sports, for example, then you should be able to direct those resources to that direction and be able to seek our approval so that we can be able to support you. But first of all, you must show the vision. Where do you want to go? What is it that you want? How many labs do you need? What kind of school do you want to become? But you don't tell us, you know, I'm just a senior school and I'm focusing ahead. Now, there's this question of, I did not attract learners. And therefore, you are worried about, you are saying C4. And I don't know why people quickly say C1 is national, C4 is sub-county. Where did you get that description? Anyway, I know you, maybe you read between the lines and all that. The reason for clustering of schools in that respect was to make selection and placement easier. But we are doing away with the national bit and this other categorization. But again, the schools that did not attract learners, of course, one reason is that we had more spaces than learners. Because you declared a capacity of 2.2 million. The learners who sat KJSA were 1,130,674. So even if we gave you all the children, there would still be space. And then the question of choice. Every learner wants to go to a C1 school. So I don't know what logic one would use to say, I will deny you a chance in a C1 school, even when there is space, and take you to a C4 school. So that is why you are seeing that kind of change. And so, the schools that did not attract learners, for example, should be able to re-examine themselves and see what is it that they are offering. Are you offering electricity? Are you offering building construction? Are you offering marine and fisheries? How about electricity and all these others? So that you can be able to rethink about that. As you do that also, I don't know when you last visited your junior school next to you. Because these are schools in the neighborhood, right? It is most likely that a C4 school was given birth to by a primary and a junior school. Begin talking to those people very well, right? Here. And let me ask you one question. What is better? Is it to be a principal in a school of 15 children? Or to be a head of institution that is of a lower level but with 1,000 children? You don't need to answer that. Is it to be a principal of a senior school with 15 children? Or to be a head of institution, let's say junior, with 1,000 children? You know, we are told a rose flower will still smell sweet, even if you change the name, right? So what are you thinking about? but be able to see the signs of times, right? If I don't know, is it demeaning to head a junior school? Yeah, I was privileged to, when we were working on this competence-based education, I got an opportunity to be in Brazil. And I was really surprised to see PhD holders teaching in kindergarten. They are the ones handling the children at that formative stage. But I'm sure today, if you took our chair of Kessha here, with his PhD to teach, is it Rabor primary? He will speak to everybody on how he has been demeaned and how education in this country is not taken seriously. Well, you'll find a classroom teacher who has done a PhD in mathematics, for example, and saying, look at how it is now. You know, I think it is how we were brought up, right? That when you get your PhD, you want to load it on everybody else. People must know you. And if they will make a mistake, if you are a man and they call you mister. So you see, those are the kind of things we need to think about. It is therefore important to think about, because definitely there are schools that will not have children. Now, we are lucky now you still have Form 4 and Form 3. If next year you don't attract grade 10 again, so you will not have grade 10, you will not have grade 11. You will have Form 4. The following year, you don't attract another grade 10, and the Form 4s will have exited. What do you think we shall tell you? I mean, it is good manners that you see what is happening, right? But you see, again, we can't force children to a particular school. The school must attract them, right? So we should be able to think around that and see what is the problem. Is it the infrastructure? Is it the teachers? Is it the curriculum that we have offered? Because if you are offering chemistry, physics, and you are a C4 school, Nyaboanza is offering the same, and children are told, make a choice. Where they will go is obvious, isn't it? But you see, you must also think about what is being offered across. Is there a subject in the entire county that is not being offered by a school? Why can't you be the champion? When I talked of indigenous, you laughed at that and wondered how you would teach it. But why do we have a curriculum design? Why can't you start building construction? Why can't you specialize in technical studies so that it is known this school is very good in technical studies? This school are specialized in applied sciences. You are known for agriculture, you are known for home science, you are known for computer. That is food for thought, but you must think about your environment. Teacher retooling, therefore, is a continuous thing. What we are doing today is part of it. And then there is a lot of policy intervention, legislation. As we speak, we have worked on the various bills that are now in Parliament for deliberation and enactment, having been approved by Cabinet. All the way from the Basic Education Act, the Teachers Service Commission bill, of course, the tribunal, the one on the School of Education and all that, then definitely that is an area that possibly we need to think about and work on. Now, I know there are a few concerns about, I've already talked about infrastructure. You need to realign your infrastructure to what it is that you are offering. And think about who else can support you in terms of infrastructure. Is it the banks? Is it the application for transition infrastructure grants, which are normally limited? Is it the national government, CDF? Be able to think about that space. Be able to think about any other person, any other well-wisher who is able to support you. But first of all, you must have a vision. What is it that you are missing? What is it that you have? So that it is known You know, there are people who will say that they need to be prayed for, but they are not saying what the prayer item is. It must be clear in your mind that this is the gap, this is what I have. I have 4 laboratories, and because of the numbers and the focus that we have in STEM, I'm looking for a 5th laboratory. That is my big challenge. I don't know who will help me do that. The cost is this, the drawing is this. People will look at you and say, yes, this is a focused person. What do you do in that case? The question of capitation is something that we have always worked on. I know at times there are debates on 50%, 30, 20. You know, what we disburse is what is given to us from Treasury. And I can assure you we are faithful. We receive and release, right? I know you are, although there are very few teachers of maths here, but I've also learned that even teachers of history know maths when it comes to capitation. But of course, that is something we are pushing on. Of course, you are aware that money for textbooks is retained and given to the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development to be able to procure and supply the textbooks. Money for SMASE, the 200 we give to SMASE per child per year, is also part of that for training and capacity building. And basically then that should be taken care of. But we are moving towards really increasing the figures because we want to see how we can free. I know co-curricular still is another area that possibly requires some discussion so that can be worked on. Issues of chemis, of course, is a concern. We are now transitioning from NEMIS to chemis, and I know you went through some online training. If you feel that there are a few clarifications you need also, I will discuss with your director, and then I can be able to send you an officer to be able to meet you in Migori in a venue that you people will agree so that can be taken care of. So finally, can I know how many C1s are in Migori? C1 schools are how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, okay. 7. Or the special school. The special school is in Rongo. In charge of what? They are handling? The deaf. Okay. Yeah, because we have a challenge with special needs schools. If you can give us a second one, we would really appreciate. So maybe think about that, and particularly, Director, one of those that you think are facing challenges of collapse. No, it's for a good reason, you know. Is there one that you think is likely to collapse and has facilities? Boarding facilities, it can be changed to special. Do we have any? Do we have any here? Anyone? Yes? Which school? Just be courageous. This could be your opportunity. Okay. Which school? 0? 0 girls. So tell us about it. Give her the microphone. Give her the microphone. Just a bit of it.
I thank God for this opportunity. I didn't know I would stand here today, but it's my voice that has brought me here. So my school is called Zero Girls. It is a boarding school, and currently boarding come day has all the facilities, and those who come from Ruiri sub-county can attest to this. It has all the facilities, a girls' school, but it is collapsing.
Start with the learner. How big is the learner?
The learning, the learners. How many?
How many acres?
How many acres? About 6 acres lying fallow.
What is the enrollment now?
The enrollment now, quite unfortunate, I have 13 students.
In grade 10?
In grade 10, there are 10.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Form 3, 9.
Uh-huh.
But I'm 2 months old there. When I reported there were 7 girls.
Now,
But,
how about the boarding facilities? They can
all
accommodate
there,
how many?
How many?
How many children can the facilities accommodate in boarding?
One time there were 300.
Uh-huh.
So that means it has the capacity to accommodate even more than that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you feel it can be given special needs?
Yes, I feel so. Because
Have you trained yourself as a special needs teacher? Anything? Do you have an interest in any of them?
No, as a principal I don't.
Uh-huh.
But maybe we can get a teacher. As
Uh-huh.
a principal I don't train special.
But you are passionate about it?
I'm very passionate about it.
Is it visually impaired, the deaf, the hearing?
I choose.
What is your thinking? Yes. Or
My
you will think about it?
Visually.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Is your sub-county director here? Sub-county director of education?
Yes.
Oh, you are there? Have you been to that school? What is your comment? Give him the microphone.
Okay. The school is going down. We have been to that school several times. We have done assessments. And the biggest challenge to that school is that it doesn't have a primary feeder school. And the neighboring schools are equally well established. And it's slightly interior, although with good road network. So when she was brought in, there were only 3 students. In fact, she has moved, the 10 students are hers.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I'm rightly to say that they are hers because they don't come from within the area.
Mm-hmm.
So she has to look for students and bring the students there. Recently we were there, and we have really talked to the neighborhood. There are other things that we need to consult privately. I have already talked to the CD.
Okay.
That we don't need to put here.
Okay. Now, are the facilities disability friendly?
The facilities are adequate. They are.
No, I'm not talking about adequacy. I'm talking about.
Yeah, because you see.
Are they friendly?
They are. They are.
The way they have been constructed.
Of course, they will need a little restructuring. There are few ramps here and there, but they are adequate. We have enough classrooms. We have enough dorms. We have a very new and modern lab built by the CDF. We have not even started using it. And we have adequate water tanks. We have enough land.
Has your castle been there?
Severally.
Where is he here?
He's not here, but other castles who are here. Any castle who has been here? Any castle, I have seen castles. Any castles who have gone to that school? Okay, they may not be here.
Maybe we will ask the CDE after this. We have a short meeting and see really if that is the case, then we will request that you take it to the CEB and you allow us to convert it to a special needs school, right? But with a focus on what it is that you want. And once we do that, we must now work with speed, because we expect the current grade 9 to begin choosing schools and pathways in May. So it means when you leave this conference, we need that feedback by next week. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, madam, I think prepare for that. If you require a team from Nairobi, we will send you. But now I'll request that the entire team, the CD, Dr. Mugasia, and please put your eyes on the school so that we can see how we can rescue one, right? So how many are the C2s? C2 are how many? Just by show of hands, roughly. Okay, about There are very few. 10, okay. C3? C3 by show of hands. Okay, okay. Then C4? Okay. Okay. C5? Well, we also have C5. C5 are all the private schools. Yeah, C5 are private schools. So then you will work with your team and see, director, what you can do on that. If there are a few you want us to recommend to move to C2, a few in C3 to C2, and then a few in C4 to C3. But of course, for you to be in C3, you must be boarding, right? And this idea of, I'm partial, I'm what, it is neither here nor there. Where do we want to be? If you want to go boarding, go boarding. If you want to go day, just be day. It makes it easier for you. But of course, we work on this. So ladies and gentlemen, the success of the implementation of the competence-based education depends entirely on what it is that we do. So far, we have done the final transition in basic education, which was transition from grade 9 to grade 10. What is remaining is for tertiary education. What we just need to be extremely careful with is not to lose the gains that we have made with regards to this transition. And in terms of summary, I've said, these citizens or the children must be engaged, empowered, and ethical. We should therefore try as much as possible to identify and nurture the talent of every child. And let us take leadership in terms of what it is that is being offered in our schools, so that we can provide solutions, so that we can ensure that our schools are well managed, the facilities are well taken care of, at least have some little budget for painting every year. There are schools that have never seen paint since they were started. So be able to think about that. Be able to think about the children and the conducive environment that they need to be in. What is it that you need to do in that space so that we can be able to do well? So with that, obrigado. So maybe unless there are one or two concerns that you would want us to address. So you can manage that.
Yeyote aliye na swali, tafadhali inua mkono, tutakuletea kinasa sauti mahali upo. Yeyote aliye na swali.
Okay, thank you, Daktari. You have informed us that grade 9 are soon choosing their pathways. My question is, shall we be given an opportunity to select pathways before this happens in May? We selected last year, but there are some schools that may change or add their pathways. Thank you.
Natumai daktari amenakili hilo mwingine.
Thank you so much to the presentation. I have a concern about our country, and it could be, I pray I'm not crucified about it. Now that you are choosing pathways in life, and our children prepared from grade 1 and they are progressing with it, sometimes it's important for us also to find out in case they want to fall back, is the government providing a fallback? Sometimes they make changes and they make inquiries, but they have already progressed. And as much as they're also under pressure, could be the advice is, how prepared are our universities to receive our pathways in the next future? So those are the two inquiries I've made. This is the third, could be fourth time. The preparation of a fallback, in case a child says, I chose this pathway because of the influence. But because I'm giving up, where is the fallback? Maybe for future. And number two, how prepared is our nation in the curriculum policy management? Thank you.
Maswali mazuri sana. Kuna mwingine?
Okay, thank you, Daktari. My question is on the dual certification. Where will they get this certificate from? Is it from the TVET institution they are collaborating with, or there is a special arrangement with the ministry so that they get that certificate?
Kuna mwingine?
Thank you, Director, for your presentation. I want to talk about the C4 schools. I want to talk on behalf of the C4 schools in terms of the number of students that we did receive, and you talked about it, that majority of C4 schools received very few students. In the previous system, the 844 had the 4 classes, that is from 1 to Form 4. And therefore, last year, when Form 1s now did not report, all schools in Kenya had the vacancies, now less classes, Form 3, Form 2 to Form 4. Meaning all of us were affected. And so I'm asking, given that you've talked of choices and students are more likely to choose, for example, to go to Alliance than to come to Matthias Nyanchabu Girls, is there a way in which nationally, because we were all affected, you could take control? Alliance could say that they have a vacancy of 2,000 or 2,500 students. But we also need quality. We also need safety. There's no need of taking students and then some are now in Mabati classes or Mabati dormitories just because they have the chance and just because they are a preferred school. So the C4 schools now suffered because of less students. These schools were already built by the government and all the other partners. Is there a way in which some control can be taken so that these schools, they don't diminish? They continue existing so that at least they can also have students just like C1, C2, C3. That is my concern. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sugut, for the good presentation. I have 2 concerns. Number one, the joining instructions that parents received last year from C4 schools was stating that they were day schools. But we are aware that some C4 schools have boarding facilities. This affected enrollment because learners who could not operate as day scholars all did not join those schools because the joining section was saying day school. Number two, when the ministry allowed that learners could revise pathways that they had taken, we saw a lot of changes. And on inquiry, we realized that most learners did not choose those pathways for themselves. They were chosen for by their teachers. parents did not have understanding of the pathways. So learners came to senior school and realized that they chose, they made wrong choices, and they wanted to change, some even from STEM to social, some from sports to other areas. So that shift was a lot, meaning there was not enough understanding given to the learners on the pathways, how to choose them, and all that. And so this is tied to what my colleague has asked. Is there a fallback plan should a learner realize that whatever they chose was not the best for them? And again, what best can the ministry do to ensure that those choices are made after the learners and the parents are properly informed about what it entails, whatever they are choosing in future? Thank you.
Kwa hivyo, the very last one.
I am very brief, kindly asking if we can have a ceiling for enrollment in grade 10, because we have, my neighbor has 4,000 children, I have 700, I have 10 students. I'm kindly asking, Director, if we can have a ceiling for enrollment in grade 10, so that we only say whatever school, C4, C1, should only admit 3,000, not 5,000, 6,000. Two, about capitation, we have schools who have 10 students, and they are allocated according to the number of students. I kindly request if we can have a flat rate for improving that school, we can give it 500,000 for every other school, so that each school at least gets to improve that school. We don't have to use the numbers, because the numbers have been taken by the big fish. Kindly give us a flat rate so that we can also make our schools better. Thank you so much.
Asante sana.
Thank you very much for those questions. There's a question on pathways, and of course last year you did select your subject combinations, and we are cognizant of the fact that it was the first time, right? And you may not have had time to really ventilate on that and discuss with your people, is that really what you want your school to offer? So we are also giving you another opportunity to do that revision. Alongside that, again, you remember what we had in the system still had advanced maths, right? Or core maths as part of the combinations. But in August, whereas that was done in May, in August, from the circular that was released, core maths stroke essential maths was made compulsory. So it is removed from the combinations as part of the 4 subjects that I've talked about. So that is the other reason why we are allowing you to do that revision, so that now maybe you can pick biology, chemistry, physics as a combination that you offer as a school. So we will give you that room before the children select. And we will even have an online meeting with the field officers to explain with a lot of clarity when that will be done. We will maybe give you a week to be able to do that. And please, even when you delegate, be able to follow up so that you know what your school has chosen and what your school has aspired to do. There is a question of the pathways and life and whether there is a fallback and all that. Now, the way our curriculum has been structured is such that children pursue all the learning areas in pre-primary, primary, in junior school. And when you look at the curriculum in junior school, we are exposing learners to a broad curriculum, right? To be able to try their abilities, to try their skills, to try what it is that they can do. That is why the curriculum is broad and every learner undertakes all the 9 learning areas. There's another meeting here that is going on. Oh, it's outside. Okay, fine. So what then we need to do going forward is to emphasize to our colleagues in junior school that they now need to guide the learners very well in terms of what it is that they want to choose. And really to look at where is their ability, so that we do not have challenges in terms of changes that come in thereafter. It is true, this first cohort we had a bit of challenge because parents did a list of schools and gave to the teachers. Some of them left. So when the teacher is looking at the deadline, the teacher is forced to choose for the child. Because when the teacher even calls the parent says, "Iyo kazi maliza, wachana kunisumbua. Mumaliza na mtoto kazi hiyo." So those are some of the challenges we went through. Although in the system we even asked them to indicate whether the child is present, whether the teacher is present, and the parent. But they did that. And they avoided. And that's why last time you heard them saying, "My child was placed in a school they did not choose." But when you go to the system, they get surprised. You know, this is a system, it is a system that places learners. There is no human intervention. And the system does it in 36 minutes. So there is no way the system will pick a child and place them anywhere. It is one of the schools that was chosen. So that is an area that we have seen is a gray area. We are doing more in terms of junior school to enable them, support the learners in terms of what pathway they want to choose. And whether the universities are prepared, this is something that is also going on. COOPs and the universities are also working around the clock to ensure that they prepare for this cohort. Because they'll be receiving children who have pursued 3 subjects in STEM, maybe 3 subjects in social sciences, 3 subjects in other arts and sports. So then it means they must be able to adjust their courses and even the clustering. And those are the discussions that are going on. And even be able to look at the content that is being offered. When you look at the content that is being offered in grade 10 in physics, for example, and through grade 11 and 12, part of that information is what is also being offered today in first and second year in the university. So you see, they must be able really to work around that. And an area that we still have a lot of work to do is in junior school, to enable the learners get support so that they can be able to improve on that. But we hope this year they will do better. About dual certification, we are currently working with 5 schools because this certification should come from the colleges that are supporting these schools, the TVET, so that this child gets a certificate from TVET and gets a certificate from the Kenya National Examinations Council. We want to see whether we can increase this number going forward, because this year we are working with 5 schools across the country. We want to see whether we can move forward that number so that we can enable these children be able to benefit out of that. There's a question on whether we should take control and avoid overcrowding. That is true. The control is there, and that's why issues of capacity will have to be declared. And the way we have structured this year, in terms of a school will declare the capacity of grade 10 and declare the subject combinations. After they have done that in the system, the sub-county quality assurance and standards officer will verify and append their comments there. When that is done, the sub-county director of education will approve. So if a school is overcrowded, we will not be asking the principal. We will be asking the person who verified and the person who approved. So we are appealing to our officers also to be very strict on this, because they are there, they can be able to visit your school, they can see what you have, they can see what you are able to do, and do all that. But one thing that we must be able to accept is the fact that, which was raised by a member here, that it is true we are now running 3 classes as opposed to 4. So there is bound to be some space. There are also a few schools that have expanded because of support. And there are a few also that will expand more, which will need to be taken care of. But of course, it is also not right to have children put in a school and they sleep on triple deckers. It's not right. Or you put them in a dining hall when the others are using cubicles in the dormitories. That is not a good thing. So those are the things we need to control so that the children are comfortable and that education is being offered in an environment that is conducive. So it is not really true that all the C4 will die. No, that is not the case. The numbers will stabilize going forward. This year, those who are sitting HSA will be 1.2 million. So the number will go up a bit. The joining instructions and the question of boarding, summer day. Now, it is difficult to have 2 joining instructions for a school. So that's why I said you must make a decision. Are you boarding or you are day? Or if you are both, which is your major? Are you majorly boarding or majorly day? You know, we get mixed reactions from you people. When you go to some schools, they tell you it is very difficult to run a school that is both boarding and day. It's like you are running 4 schools, especially if it is day, boarding, mixed. You go to others, they say, no, we are able to run. We can do partial boarding, partial day. So make a decision. Don't be lukewarm. Just be daring. Either you are hot or you are cold, right? Where is your strength? Is it as a day school or as a boarding school? And you go that direction. We can be able to really support, and then the joining stations then can be taken care of in that respect. Yeah, revision in terms of pathways. This time round we gave room because this was the first cohort. We have given first term of grade 10 as a period for those changes to take effect. If a child feels like, you know, I want to change a subject, I want to change 1 or 2 things. But really, if we do some good work in junior school, there will be no challenge. But again, if there will be 1 or 2 who want to change 1 or 2 subjects in first term, that should be done. But we want to discourage this because from second term, the assessment starts. And this assessment, we've said, is both formative and summative. So you can't keep changing until some people are suggesting that we allow them up to grade 11. Then we will lose the focus. And remember, we must be all vigilant not to go back to 844. Even the way I have not had time to look at your report forms this time around. Maybe our field officers should help us check those report forms. How have the children been assessed? Have they been graded? Are they ranked? Did you have a child who was first position in grade 10? There should be nothing like that. We should be telling us how many met expectations, how many exceeded in those particular subjects. So unless we are all vigilant, we will go to a situation where, you know, we want to train innovators. We want to train people who can think. We want to enable learners to exploit their potential, and we need to support them. The ceiling on enrollment, I think I've said that. But again, look at the number you declare depends on your accommodation in the dormitory, your classrooms that you have, and even leave some space for changeover, where you have subjects that require children to move from one class to another so that you take care of them. Then there is the suggestion on capitation. to have a flat rate. Well, that's a healthy discussion. We did that in junior already. When I wanted to introduce that in senior, I was told to go slow. So, because what it means is, our requirement for capitation for senior is 76 billion. So, when we request from Treasury, the figure that we get, if it is 54 billion, for example, it means we first of all say, what percentage do we take for the essential package for everybody? If it is 500,000, we will say 500,000 times 9,623 schools. So if that comes to around 10 billion, then we subtract 10 billion. So if it was 54, we will come to 44. Then now the 44, we will share as per the enrollment. That's what it means. Well, it is a good thing when you look at it. But of course, those of you who are blessed with enrollment will not like it. But it is food for thought. It's okay. I have picked it seriously. And remember also, I'm a very good listener, right? So I picked on that, and then I think that basically those are the questions. But of course, there is also one here about the approval of in terms of placement. You know, in the last placement there was a challenge. This is the final one. We placed the children in the system, right? Then a revision was carried out between the 23rd and the 29th of December, which did not have much change. Then we had a second revision from the 6th to the 9th of January, where principals were given a window to make their requests. Some of them gave physical letters to children, to parents, which was a very wrong thing. So that is a loophole we have sealed completely, so that we do not need to give a physical letter. Because what some schools did was they gave physical letters, assuming that those that have been placed online would not come. All of them came. And that's how the numbers went up. So that is what, and you see, you need to trust that the child you have been given will come, because we are placing the children as per their choices. It is them who have chosen. And you see, after selection, you will even be able to see the number of children who have chosen to come to your school. Last year, the highest was Kisumu Girls, 64,000. Of course, down from previously it was Nanyuki High with 146,000. Ensure that your online instructions are also very clear. Your uniform, your school rules, the sponsor of your school, where your school is located. A number of you had challenges with the logo. Some were taking the photo of the gate and putting it as a logo. You know that is not the case. You need to take time now to be able to present your school also in a very good manner. Tell us where it's located, tell us the sponsor, tell us what you are good for. You know, you're also marketing your institution, but you don't just place anything there and be able to support that. Otherwise, that's what we are going to do, and that's why we are ensuring every sub-county must have a sub-county director and a sub-county quality assurance and standards officer. Are there any sub-counties in Migori that don't have quality assurance? All of them do. Yeah, because we would want to make them responsible. Asanteni sana, Mwenyezi Mungu awabariki.
Asante sana mgeni wetu. You are the best time manager I've ever come across as a presenter, because you are supposed to take 1.5 hours to make your presentation, and inclusive of answering of questions, you have taken 1 hour and 29 minutes. You have donated 1 minute to us. Thank you very much. Kuna wale ambao wako na zawadi kwa mgeni, waje wawasilishe kabla. Mgeni, karibu jukwani. Kuna mtu na kamera. Baada ya hapo Paul Odor, Principal St. Paul's Nyankondo. Asante sana. Paul Odor, Principal Nyankondo, to come and give a vote of thanks. Vizuri sana tuwasaidie hawa watoto kuchagua vile director amesema, kwa sababu hata mimi nikiwa form 6 nilichagua Information Science Moi University nikifikiria ni journalism, kumbe ni kupanga vitabu kwa library.
Thank you, Session Chair. Our chief guest, Dr. William Sugut, the head of Directorate, Senior Schools, our CD, present here with us, all education officials who are here with us this morning, colleague principals, other guests who are here with us again, good morning. My name is Paul Odor, the principal, St. Paul's, Nyankondo. As I said the other time, the biggest school, the other side of Migori County, though we don't talk much about it. It's my privilege to pass a vote of thanks to Daktari this morning. And I want to begin by saying his presence here has elevated this conference to another level, because he has given unto us insightful remarks that have really inspired us and enlightened us. And we are really, really, truly grateful for the time that you've taken out of your very busy schedule to come and speak to us. When you're being introduced, they call you the brother and friend, using that political strand, and you have really proved to be one. And by extension, you become the brother and friend to Migori, Kessha, Migori County. I was wondering how you are going to tackle this particular topic, because it's been here for some time, from the inception of CB up to now that we are continuing with the implementation. And I'm personally very happy, and I know it's the joy of many of our colleagues, in the manner in which Daktari has handled his topic, which is all around here, and making it such a fun to listen to him this morning has made the whole of our morning really, really an enjoyable morning. and I didn't want to go into paraphrasing what he has said. I picked some of the questions that Daktari would ask within his presentation, which to me carry the weight of what he came to present to us this morning. And I want to just underscore some of those questions because they carry the weight of what he said this morning. One of the questions Daktari asked while he was handling the inception of CBC up to CBE to the present moment, one of the questions he asked while he was handling the matter of core competencies and the outcomes that we expect with our students, he asked this: if you left your phone in church or money in the office where your secretary is, do you expect to find it when you return? That carried the whole presentation on the matter of integrity. He asked again, do you have a spare country? And my neighbor who kept talking to me said he has a spare country called Kenya. So if you have Kenya, the next spare country you have is Kenya. And that was so insightful because it carried the whole weight of our responsibility to be citizens who love and adore their country. He asked again, when we were handling the matter of pathways, can one serve all dishes and eat all of them? So he said, pathways, just choose your best. I want to come to the conclusion of what I'm saying because I basically just want to say thank you. He finished at this point where he was handling the C1 to C4 schools. And my neighbor, as usual, said he recommended that C1 schools should have D1 principals and C4 schools D4 category of principals, so that they just move like that. I don't know how that works. I would like to say thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to request you to stand up on your feet so that we appreciate Daktari. And I want us to appreciate him the Nyayo way. And when you go back to Nairobi, please remember Migori in this broad-based, collaborative and elaborative season. Remember us. Zero story is just one story among the so many stories that we have. If we got time to tell our stories, you will love Migori more. So ladies and gentlemen, I want you to prepare your hands, warm your hands. We want to give him the Nyayo way. Put your hand up like this. We will give him 3 times. Let's go. 1, 2, tena. Tena. Thank you. You're welcome. Asante sana.
Asante sana Bwana Odoro, hukuweka funga na fungua. Kuna huyu amezaliwa baada ya Nyayo. Kuna mmoja amesema kwamba wao Kenya kukiharibika wako na spare country called Singapore, karibu Ayatollah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, mwenyekiti wa gatuzi ndogo la Ntimaru. Can we clap for huyu mwenyekiti? Thank you so much. DJ, I hope you're okay there. Your special song. Our guest speaker, Migori County Kessha, has a very nice song for you in your honor, and we request everybody to join the guest speaker in this song for only 3 minutes. Then I make some statements. DJ. And you must know how to dance. Look at the way I'm doing
it. Ma Germaine Lubasu Noki.
Everybody, let us have a gift. Mr. Juang, I'm seeing you there. From Modi. Okay. All right. watu wamekaa hapo na kuona tu. Thank you so much. We can have a seat. Thank you. Can we give round of applause to our guest speaker? 1, 2. Thank you so much. Our colleagues, our third day is very important. And just the way I said it early, for those of us who teach maths, I'm told you are very few here, there is this curve called sigmoid curve. The sigmoid curve has the lag phase, exponential, decelerating, and plateau. We are at the plateau, and therefore we must do a bit of sacrifice. I want to beg for your indulgence and patience because today is a bit packed, and we're expecting a very important guest that has given you very important information. I said early, if you treat Migori conference normally, it will treat you abnormally. So we must treat it abnormally. You can see our sub-county director Uriri was here, and we can also clap for the sub-county director Uriri. Can we give him one round? You know, it was called unawares, but he had the fingertips of issues of zero. And you see, zero now is assisted. Madam, thank you very much for that. So we have to reorganize our program briefly so that we can capture the day well. Our programming team has done this year adjustment. Immediately after I shall leave here, Kupet, secretary, will give a greeting. He was elected the other day. It's important to greet this particular congregation. Thereafter, we shall have our CPA will just give some announcement yes, for us. Then we'll go for tea. After tea, we shall come back for KCB bank, and then we shall proceed to our academics person. Already is here, Mr. Rotich is here with us. And then we also have our quality assurance officer, Dr. Madi is here. So when we go for tea, I have also organized with the tea department. Mr. Barasa, Chair Wendo, is in charge there to increase the amount of tea so that you take more, and we shall again go for late lunch. And again, we shall take more lunch. Then, because we will be strained, the Governing Council of Migori has organized what we call relaxation time from 6:30 to 10:30 in the evening. So don't worry, tuko sawa. Sawa. Kupet, please. There is one of us in charge of special programs. If I talk on his behalf, that would be insubordination. He will talk to us later. Can we clap for the tallest secretary of Kupet in the country? Please, Karibu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The Chief Guest Director, the CD Teacher Service Commission, Principals, Amjambo. Director, in Kupet we say power, so Kupet power. Thank you very much. I am delighted to be here today so that I would just come and say Jambo. But when I walked in, I found the chief guest on the floor. One thing that is very clear that has kept the Ministry of Education going in Kenya is that the quality of men and women that they engage to manage departments, especially when they come on the ground like this. Because he gives a talk that is refined, a talk that gives hope, so that at the end of the day, we clap the way we have clapped. Director, you have done a beautiful job. But as you go to Nairobi, realize that that beautiful job that you have done, and you have always done, is as good as it is. But when the principles get back to the ground, things remain the way they have been. That is why you find it takes courage, very few people, like the Principal Zero, to come and say, my school is dying. But Director, do you know, many of them here, the schools are actually dying. But why are these schools dying, Director? You explained it very well. And you explain until we clap. That is the beauty of the ministry and the quality of the people that you bring. The biggest thing, Director, is that we, the ministry, is killing the beautiful CV of these men and women that you see here. That they get to a school and the school collapses and then the villagers and the public judge them as very poor managers. While the main thing is, among the very many things, Director, what you have explained and you have convinced us, but look at this, capitation. That is the biggest thing that we are talking about, Director. We will run schools. And because we have been doing well, the principals do well to manage schools. Ministry expects results and they struggle to bring this result. Director, that result is dependent on parameters. The key one is the resources, the capitation that we are talking about. But look at it. We are supposed to have gotten 50%, Director. 50% is 11,000. As we speak, and we have closed schools, we have 6,577. That is 29.89%. But we have already closed school, Director. And the programs should have ended well. We want to ask, Director, kindly, as you talk with this treasury like you have said, now our question is, we are going to term 2. We are expecting 30%. So will we get the remaining percentage together with the 30% so that we can be able to run term 2 well, because already we are in debt in term 1. So, Director, we want to ask you very well, kindly work on this capitation. But there is a trick that happens. I wish that you rectify this, Director. You send money that comes to the accounts of schools and it appears big, very big money. Then there is the instruction that transfer this one to go to MIF. After you transfer it, then now you realize that you have nothing, Director. Nothing has now remained. It is time, Director. Please, could you send these monies distinctly? This one is MIF, and this one is capitation. If you do that, then even from your offices where you sit, you will realize that the schools are suffering. But we don't want them to suffer. The ministry wants principals to perform using miracles so that the schools run. But, Director, can't you tell the minister also to perform miracles so that the monies can also come and we can also be able to move well? Very lastly, Director, and they have already said it, for us to have our schools grow so that not many zeros are around, give them some money that is basic for all of them so that at least schools have something to show for it. Schools can be able to move forward. Otherwise, the way it is, only principal zero. Madam, you are great. I wish they could clap for you again because you are now going to get serious money. The principals, next time you hear us, just shout that my school is dying. If it is not dying, you may get what has actually happened. Otherwise, Director, we are thankful, but please, when you get back to Nairobi, capitation is what will make or break the performance of our principals, and we are very qualified people. Kindly let us have that. Principals, SHA is a factor, but we are going to deal with it. But as we are dealing with it, there are instant information that you need to carry home. Very instant. A lot of challenges that there is no information. I met the director, SHA Migori, yesterday, and we agreed that we are going to pass this information so that teachers know. We have Mwalimu cover, but we have the SHIF. SHIF is the statutory deduction that is on our slip. So many times, our teachers go to facilities that are not accredited for Mwalimu cover, and then the officers don't tell them. So they are treated under SHIF, that statutory deduction. That's where you are asked to top up money. Please listen to me. No teacher is supposed to top up money, because that is what they have assured us. And if that is supposed to happen, let us know. However, Aga Khan Kisumu and many Aga Khan hospitals are not already onboarded. So if you get to Aga Khan, for now, please know that it is not onboarded, but you can use Avenue in Kisumu, Synergy, and other hospitals. But we are going to share with you the data of the facilities that is already covered so that we can move well. Principals, I want to say that you have done a good job. But I want to say that we have lost 4 teachers, unfortunately. Paul should have prayed about this. Already we have lost 4 teachers, and I want to thank the principals, especially principal of Nyarombo, the principal of Nyakuru, the principal now of Godkeo, and the other principal is of Michelle Obama, and they are here. Why I am thanking them is this. When we lose a teacher, then the next family that the parents look up to is the school. And who is the school? The principal. That principal, and when it is a school like the one of my brother Paul that he said is the biggest in the other side, it's called St. Paul's Nyankondo, the biggest, I'm sure you know what it means. Now, such a big school, when you lose your teacher, the entire village is looking up to the school. Principals are suffering. To give befitting send-off to our teachers is not a very easy thing. But they have done well, they have struggled, and we are where we are today. And I want to say thank you very much. That makes me plead now. Kessha Chair and the principals who are seated here. It is time that from Kupet Migori we are proposing this. We are paid very poorly. And the only honor that we can have when we die is a decent send-off. But because school where we work is where is our family, and where everybody believes that we're supposed to get assisted, can we have, and I propose, dear principals, a program that we call Teachers for Teacher Initiative. This thing will help us in this manner, that when we lose a teacher, that all the TAC teachers, board I would want to exclude because it has a lot of technicalities, the teachers on Teacher Service Commission in your school, please let us arrange that we got only 100 shillings from a teacher. Nobody feels the weight of 100 shillings. If I said here that we are killing everybody here, and for you to get out, you must pay only 100, who will die? Nobody will die. Because we can afford. 100 is not much. That 100, cumulatively, in the entire Migori, we will be raising not less than 450,000. Assuming that money, the principal Michelle Obama, that was almost shedding tears, the principal of Nyakuru, that perhaps even had to sell his own cow to also show the village that he's serious. He's a principal who can give a befitting send-off to his teachers. 450,000 at the disposal. Brothers and sisters, we are going to give decent send-off to our teachers as and when we lose them. If you agree, because it is you people to agree, if you agree, in whichever manner that we are going to discuss with the leadership of Kessha, so that we roll it down and you support, I want to tell you, this will take us far. Corporate power. Lastly, I want to thank you very much, especially the leadership of Kessha. The way you do things, I have just learned that there will be another session of relaxation. You have called it some way. I am asking if I am allowed also, because I'm a serious dancer, I can be able to dance thoroughly with you as you go forward. Office of Kupeta send greetings. I want to say thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and dear principals. You came, you gave us your vote, and you gave me particularly. I was very keen when you were voting, and I noticed you voted for me thoroughly. I will not disappoint you. I will work with you. We shall work with the Teacher Service Commission and the CDE so that we deliver. My office should have been here, Mr. Chairman, but we are going for elections of Kupet tomorrow. Election is on Saturday, so a lot of arrangements, that's why they are not here. But they have sent greetings, and they have said that as you will be dancing, they are adding 20,000 shillings, and may God bless you. Power! Thank you.
Kupet power. Give now. But the Vice Chair, you can take this. Can we clap for Kupet? Thank you very much. We have the chair of session of CPA. Of course, we have agreed CPA, we know very well. We have always introduced him here. Before CPA comes, we have a guest that is a good friend of ours. I didn't know that people can be very good friends. We were in Bungoma in 2018, And the then governor of Bungoma gave us a very good party somewhere as the executive of the National Engineering Fair. And we exchanged the numbers. And I didn't know that he kept the number up today. And yesterday he was calling me. I thought, hey, is it true that this is the former governor of Bungoma? But he called, and today he told me he was coming. Please come and I see you if you are the correct person. So when I was here, he called me out, and I went and saw him clearly. With us is the former governor of Bungoma, His Excellency Wycliffe Wangamati. Can we clap that, please? And please have the pleasure to come and share with us for about 5 minutes, then CPA will follow. Can we continue clapping for the governor? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Kwa majina mimi naitwa Wycliffe Wangamati. I have been a governor in this country, Bungoma County, 2017-2022. And I think when I was the governor, the chair alikuja tukajuana. So I called him, and I didn't know you guys are here. So I was just passing to say hi to him. Alafu akaniambia nikuje niwasalimu. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. First, let me say this. And the chair knows very well that I have a lot of respect for professionals at the level that you operate. Kessha, during my time as the governor of Bungoma County, 60 to 70% of my executive were Kessha members. I had about, out of 10 CEC, almost 5, 6 were Kessha principals. Out of about 21, 22 chief officers, almost 14, 12 to 14 were principals. Even in my public service board, the chair was Kessha. So I have a lot of respect. And I can tell you, for those who come from Western Kenya, or even if there's anyone who comes from Bungoma, they'll tell you I delivered during my time. And it's because of the quality of the people that I had at that time. Hebu jipigie makofi. So today nimekuja hapa as a businessman. And I didn't know even I was going to speak to you guys. But I'd come to talk to Chair and to tell him that I, as Wycliffe Wangamati, I'm a director of one of the big hotels in Western Kenya in Bungoma County called Bungoma Tourist Hotel. And even last week, we hosted Kessha Kericho in Bungoma Tourist Hotel. Sasa nikasema nije hapa na niwaombe kazi. Niseme, when you have the next Kessha meeting, please consider coming to Bungoma County and to Bungoma Tourist Hotel. Apart from the Kessha meetings at the county level, I know you have deputy meetings, you have sub-county meetings, you have Basas meetings. Pia nawaambia, Bungoma Tourist Hotel, we are now open for business as one of the biggest conferencing center in Western Kenya. Probably next to this one, or Siala. Sasa mimi nimekuja kuomba kazi tu. Sijakuja kupiga siasa. Siasa inakuja. Mimi nimekuja kuomba kazi. Kwa sababu niko hapa na chairman yuko hapa, pia mimi nitaongeza. I'll be around chairman. Sasa hiyo dance hiyo yenye nimesikia jamaa Kupeti akiongea, mimi nitaongeza pia shilingi 20,000 so that pia hiyo dance ikiendelea mimi nitakuwa. Otherwise, thank you. Thank you. Anybody from Bungoma County? Sasa wewe jamaa angeendelea bwana. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki.
Yanza welinde mama wechunge nenda vandu vatama. Yanza uninde na njelele titi karundo.
Thank you very much.
Yanza uninde na njelele titi karundo.
During the party that he hosted for us, he danced for 2 straight hours. Yeah, that is his hobby. From the way we have lived together and known one another, he's a very good dancer. Your Excellency, we are very happy for taking time to come and share with us. We don't take it for granted. Biashara, these are people that will give you biashara. And I want to believe as Migori County, if our brothers come to have that request, please, Orange Team, Orange, if you are going out for our sub-county meets, we can travel there, isn't it? And then we see you will get very good hosting, I assure you. I was there myself. Thank you so much, CPA. Please, 15 minutes I know is enough for you to make an announcement. Can we clap for CPS is coming, please? Thank you.
I take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to first of all say that I'm extremely delighted to be before you for this session. My only problem and issue is that when very serious people talk before you, then you feel like dwarfed. But I'm going to try my level best to take 10, 15 minutes to pass the message that I have for you today. I know that I'm going to talk to non-accountants. And non-accountants who are managers of finances in their institutions will have to come to terms with some of the pronouncements that I'm going to make before you. But I will make the work lighter so that you understand what I will be talking about. We all know that we have transited our financial reporting from ile ya kitambo, conventional reporting, to IPSAS. Because prior to 2019-2020, we were using a different method of financial reporting. So there's a body at the Treasury called Public Sector Accounting Standards Board, which came with what is popularly known as IPSAS, International Public Sector Accounting Standards, to present the books of accounts and the final report on the transactions that school engage in. So that came into being because the previous method or template had anomalies. And the anomalies were two. First, there was no uniformity in financial reporting. And two, there was no comparability. So the two were serious. And therefore this body decided to ensure that going forward, public education institutions will have to adopt that template known as IPSAS to address or to cure the anomalies that were arising therefrom. So there is this word called international. What does it mean? That accounts or financial reports for Migori County is comparable and is in uniform to those of other counties, so that they speak the same information and the same language. That is why that body was introduced. But we all know that for a system to work well, it has to undergo certain amendments, certain changes. Because IPSAS, at the inception, was purely on cash basis. Cash. Taking into account the transactions for the year under review. But then, they came also with another issue, which was raised by accountants, that if we are considering
only transactions for a particular year, the current year. But there is also an issue where previous years had fees in arrears or had outstanding creditors. So how do we take this into account? Now that if we open a financial year, a new financial year, we pay creditors for the previous years, we again receive fees in arrears. So they saw some sense in it, and therefore they decided to move away from IPSAS cash to IPSAS accrual. IPSAS cash to IPSAS accrual, because they were in agreement that certain payments which ought to have been paid during the previous year were being paid in the current year. So that brings me to a term called accrual. What is accrual? Accrual in accounting is one, that it is an accumulation of assets and liabilities over the years that are recorded in the books of accounts of an institution, and they are recognized when earned or when incurred. Earning means that we are receiving them. They are revenues. When incurred, it means that we are paying for the services that have already been rendered. So in the books of accounts of your institutions, you will find a column in the cash book where there is a provision for fees in arrears. And then on the payment side of the cash book, you will find payment of sundry creditors. So that was the first time the amendment was made to IPSAS to take into account such changes. The second amendment to IPSAS was with regard to stock. Stock are purchases that are accumulated as at the end of a particular period of time. You are supposed, therefore, to include stock in your financial reports. Because we all know that at the end of any financial year, probably a school with prudent financial management would reflect in their stores ledger records the balances of goods remaining unused. So you are supposed to report that in your financial report. You cannot quantify that. That must be converted into cash. Say, for example, at the end of the financial year, a school has 10 bags of maize still in the stores, 5 bags of beans. You are supposed, by the standard, to report that by doing valuation. Because you cannot report in the financial statement that I have 5 bags of beans and 10 bags of maize in the financial report. Those are figures that are needed. There is a valuation related to those goods that are available in your stores. 2 methods. One is the value that is out there in the market, and the cost. In other words, the cost of that item at the time it was purchased, you compare to the value it can fetch in the market. So you consider the lower of the two. The lower of cost and the net realizable value. The lower you post in your financial report. Number two, you use the weighted average method, where you list those goods, you quantify them, then you divide by the number of bags available. You get the cost. That is how you do the costing of stock. Another step that has completely altered the IPSAS reporting is the requirement that property, plant and equipment under your institutions are also supposed to be valued. Property, plant and equipment. I know if I say property, land and equipment, some of you may know, others don't know. Property, plant and equipment are the fixed assets that the institution owns. And they include land, buildings, or computers, laptops, and other ICT infrastructure. Those are supposed to be reported in your financial statements. But we know that of the items that I've mentioned, only one does not depreciate, sorry. That is land. That land will keep on appreciating in value. But the rest will depreciate. And therefore, how does the template require to report that in your statement? The items that are appreciating will be recognized at that market rate that they can fetch. Those that are depreciating will be subjected to what is known as depreciation. Depreciation means that the asset is losing its value within that useful period that it is in existence. Therefore, it has to be subjected to depreciation. And how do you come up with depreciation rates? We have no capacity as accountants in the ministry to decide. That is a decision of the Treasury to give, because over time they have been giving rates for depreciation and any other. So we are hoping, ladies and gentlemen, that we are going to be very conversant with what is supposed to be done by us. And I know that even if I say here that I'll stand before you for 10 hours, I know, and it is a fact, that some of these things, you will not internalize them because you are not accountants. This therefore requires, si ni ukweli? Yes, you will not internalize them and you will not understand. That's why in the books of accounts, you have the bursars and the accounts clerks. They are the ones that are responsible for the preparation of the books of accounts on behalf of the board of management of your institutions where you are the secretaries. So, I know I'm just giving you information, but the implementers of the information are your bursars and accounts clerks. That is why it is important that consistently, yearly, you train them on these issues so that they are in the know of what is required of them. How many of you here have been audited by the Office of the Auditor General? I know. Very few. And I can point out very few. Because when they come, when we come, some of you would not wish us to be auditing you people. But auditing has now been escalated to another level, so that we have internal auditors, auditors of the ministry, and external auditors. They do what is known as sampling audit. They don't audit schools in wholesome. They do the sampling. And I know of Kanga, I know of Kanyawanga, I know of Ulanda, Kadika Girls, Nyabohanse, amongst others, that have been audited. When they come to audit, they interrogate your systems. And they audit majorly on policies. Policies that are, some of which are irrelevant to public education institutions because they don't apply. But that is their nature of work, because that is in the template. So when they audit, they will give an opinion. But before giving an opinion, they give out or issue out a letter of management or management letter to be answered or responded to immediately before they exit. So those of you who have not been audited, beware. And ensure that all books of accounts are in order. Ensure that all payment vouchers, irrespective of the amount, is fully supported. We can come to your institutions at times and we can turn a blind eye on certain transactions, and we will give you time to go and do the correction. Some of them will not. So ensure that your books of accounts are impeccable and the records speak for themselves. We have been to schools where expenses are being incurred but no corresponding accounting records. Don't do that. Ensure that everything is fully and thoroughly supported. you know that when auditors come, they give an opinion. And the most common opinion that you know as principals, in fact, two opinions that you know. One is unqualified opinion. Two is a qualified opinion. Those are the only opinions that you know. But there are two others. Unqualified opinion is when the records are clean. Everything is well supported and documented. And therefore, the accounts are above board. They are prepared as per the accounting standards that are in place. A qualified opinion is where there are anomalies. Anomalies in the financial statements, but the implication of that is that it is not a bad report per se. Why? Because those anomalies that are there do not affect the entire financial statement. And therefore, it is good. The other two that I would not wish to hear happen to any of you here is an adverse report. Adverse. And number two, on the same, is a disclaimer of opinion. Adverse report or opinion arises where the financial records are not auditable and they are not prepared as per the laid down standards. And in many situations, that suggests that there is some kind of fraud. A red flag is raised that there is something amiss here. So where you are, if you don't have an accounts clerk because of the nature of your institution, you are supposed to be outsourcing the services of a bookkeeper, so that at any moment in time, you are at peace with what is required of you. It would be embarrassing if an auditor comes to your institution and finds that the year has come to an end, but there are no books of accounts to audit. A disclaimer of opinion is where the auditor is denied access to audit a certain account. Totally denied access. Say, for example, we have come to audit stores. Na audit anapelekwa hivi mpaka na Lusop. Or we have come to audit infrastructure. So when the auditor is denied that access to accounting records, he will give a disclaimer of opinion because of that denial. So those are areas, ladies and gentlemen, that I would wish that you are keen on, so that we are at peace with each other. It is not proper that we are there on the ground and we don't advise you on how to improve on your financial reporting. So, mmejua, accrual has been included in the financial statements, stock included in the financial statements, and finally, property, plant and equipment. Musiseme sikuambia. I have told you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm finishing by saying and repeating myself that these things that are required of you, you are not in a position to implement them. How do you do it? Ensure, with your support, that you train bursars and accounts clerks regularly on these emerging changes or issues in financial reporting and management. Finally, when the CD called me, he instructed me to pass to you the fact that we are intending, Bwana Chairman, to have bursars and accounts clerks training in the month of May. In fact, he is emphatic that it should be towards the end of the month of May. The communication from his office will follow shortly. So I thank you very much, because you have in the past supported us in training them. If you have consistently done that in the past, I know you will do it next month, and subsequent to next month, you will do it year in, year out. Thank you, Bwana Chairman.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, our CPA. Bwana Treasurer or Mr. Mohoni, are you around? Treasurer, are you around? Thank you very much. Can we give our able CPA 3 hearty claps? 1, 2, 3. Again. Again. Good. Avoid 2 things. Thing 1, adverse report. Is it clear? Avoid it, adverse report. Thing 2, disclaimer of opinion. And you know we are many here, isn't it? But individually 1 or 2 could be suffering. Please avoid it. Thank you very much, our CPA, for that information. It is important that in Kessha conference, we must have some report from our auditor in terms of management. Allow me invite Mr. Mohoni to present an award to our CPA. Thereafter, Mr. Museti, Dr. Zabulon, you can come and pray for late tea. Can we continue clapping for CPA as he's coming to get his award? Thank you very much, CPA. We recognize, and you are a very important partner. So, can we clap for the auditor? Thank you so much. Collaborative leadership. We collaborate. Dr. Museti, are you around? And please, if we take 30 minutes, not bad. Today we said it's a busy day for us.
Let's stand and pray. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you so much for the sessions we've had in the morning, even for the tea break that we are having. We ask you to go with us and bless it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Kenny Kenya.
Sabilo belango ya bato, likwela yanga ina sheri. mama ya ngai na mobali na ngai pantalon mokaba mama tobalana tosungisa bilobela moya bato likwela ya ngai na sheri suka lilitama
DJ Kenny Kenya.
C'est pas joli, c'est pas gentil, façon comme ça.
DJ Kenny Kenya.
La façon d'aimer Doudoué, c'est pas joli, c'est pas gentil, vraiment fatigué. Ta façon d'aimer chérie, jaloux, 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 t'es trop jalouse. Tu vois même devant les gens, tu perds la tête, c'est pas gentil, oh ma belle. Parfois même devant nos invités, tu perds la tête, c'est pas gentil, oh ma belle. Hey, Fatimata, amour à moi. Hey, Fatimata, amour à moi. Ta façon d'aimer, c'est pas joli, c'est pas gentil, façon comme ça. Ta façon d'aimer Doudoué, c'est pas joli, c'est pas gentil, vraiment fatigué. Ta façon d'aimer chérie, jaloux, 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 t'es trop jalouse. Tu vois même devant les gens, tu perds la tête, c'est pas gentil, oh ma belle. Parfois même devant nos invités, tu perds la tête, c'est pas gentil, oh ma belle. Hey, Fatimata, suis déçu, maman.
Fatimata, Fatimata.
Non, 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 fatigué. Je suis déçu, fatigué. Une fille comme elle, elle habite Yopougon. Elle travaille au plateau. Elle ne roule qu'en taximètre. Elle m'a fait tourner la tête à cause de sa beauté. Elle a un corps pété pété. Elle a un corps semé semé. Non, 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 fatiguée. Elle s'habille comme une princesse à la démarche de caméléon. Elle ne boit que le bandit de Yamoussoukro. Quand elle arrive à Dakar, elle n'habite qu'aux Almadies. Tout cela pour m'impressionner. Je suis tombé malade. Voilà moi traumatisé. Non, 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 Fatimata.
Rico Makengo, Mamila Duso. Nokofe ya Mamila Wika Paul Dikando
DJ Kenny Kenya
Rico Makengo Mamila Duso Nokofe ya Mami Wika Song Kayembe Shentemba Paul Kapea Micheline Mukendi Yo Pasteur Mubimba Olanda makambo nzambe te kaka olandaka basi ya bato osala baninga no Pasteur Soli Mbuta di Mbuta Chouchou Njama Sans souci mobali ya madobo frère Bolingo riva elekinga bangu nga moto naza nanu bokuluma na labi nakolanda ndenge nini ye na mama Nikolo nanu natelemi te jalma matobo d'Amerika ngai moto nabangaka liwa te mpo nayebi mokolo ekoya ekokuta nga na maboko na yo omemanga riva olemba komemanga te nga Nikoleo batela bana lokaneo katina matuso kabikalenga nakopelela mokili eyokanga ata motoli yoto tolengelaka yango ekufa te o tolengela mpe bolingo na biso RTC nanga riva ye na mama Nikoleo mama Nikolo nalula yo koleka o bok makalangi sola sole motema etondima wasalanga zikiziki na seka bolingo bombi na motema olakisi te eza fo bolingo zete ya mbile te eboti nesobe babenga yango mbile sobe te o yo nde moto olakisanga kolela na komi na suka bolingo riva e riva e riva e defenguma maître
DJ Kenny Kenya.
Kindi mokolo ya bandoki bangala kanza. Tongo etangi bakolo nzoto babeni makambo. Ngaleli mama, ngaleli papa, ngaleli mama, ngaleli papa. Papa lolo baba kiyo wapi Papa lolo baba kiyo wapi na mokili bandimaka mototeo osangela kali ya katuka mokili leka balanda yo ebalezanga mikuwa maboti okoti na lingomba bandoki bakitiseli yo miso papa lolo babwaki yo wapi papa lolo babwaki yo wapi Zambe akela mokili atia mpema na mopepe apesa biso mpema topema akela biso na elengi nyoka atia biso na bomu tango yoso I love you papa lolo baba kiyo wapi papa lolo baba kiyo wapi na mokili bandimaka mototeo osangela kali ya katuka mokili leka balanda yo ebalezanga mikuba baboti okoti na lingomba bandoki bakitiseli yo miso papa lolo babwaki yo wapi papa lolo babwaki yo wapi Zambe akela mokili atia mpema na mopepe apesa biso mpema topema akela biso neteni yoka atia biso na boumbu tango yoso I love you papa lolo babwaki yo wapi papa lolo babwaki yo wapi
DJ Kenny Kenya. DJ Kenny Kenya.
Motema soso bapesa yo olingaka koyoka te motema ya mbwa balesa yo olingaka kochange te lele 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 Filipo boyanga mama akoma na bakamuke Filipo akokaka komona bango na bakolante surtout soki amoni bango na oya mikuse Filipo abeli liboma abosani fami nyonso ana yoyo mwana mama ida oyo pasie eleki ngai mingi Yesu Kristo Filipo baloka na
Jana